All right, welcome back everyone to the Disgruntled Losers podcast. I'm Hoy, that's Mike. We're just two sports dads that can't buy a win and just need a place to vent. Show with disgruntled takes and addressing the elephant in the room, as we can say. But what I want to start off with is just story time. And I just told you this past Friday I went to the Warriors Pistons game.
Jealous,
Uh,
jealous, jealous.
And my God, I mean, okay, we'll get to the game. I'm gonna start off with just the whole journey getting there. Uh, so the game
What's wrong
starts
with
at
the Chase
7.
Center? It's a brand new stadium. It's supposed to be perfect.
Oh no. All right, the stadium itself is fine. Stadium itself is fine. It was the whole journey getting there that was really the problem. Okay, so background: game starts at 7. I myself was ready at like 2:30. Yes, I know it's a work day, but whatever. I was ready to go. And my friend said he'd come pick me up at 3, but he didn't end up showing up till 3:40. And we get to the BART station, which is like the Bay Area Rapid Transit, like the rail system here. And so it's supposed to take us at 3:50, right? And then one of our buddy texts is like, "Bro, are you guys gonna be good? Are you guys gonna make it? Like it says like the BART's not running there. Like you guys are delayed. Are you guys good?" And I was like, "What? It's delayed?" So we look at it. It's delayed like 20, 25 minutes. And then everyone in the whole platform was getting like a news alert. Like, oh, lady falls into the tracks and gets hit by a BART train. We're like, oh my God, what? And before I go any further, I just want, like, this is not a funny matter. If anything, I want to address, like, is it not like a common, like, mandatory, like, thing where you need to have, like, a safety guard or, like, doors or walls or something before the tracks? Like,
So yeah, I
it's
mean,
2026.
yeah. So I mean, all the new ones obviously do. So like the high speed trains and stuff, and like even when you go to like airports and stuff, most of the time when the train thing pulls up, you can't really get onto the track. You can kind of only go through the door. So you'd have to
That's what I'm
do it before.
saying.
You'd have to do it before the train got there. So I mean, it would have to have been, which is it's kind of one of those things where I don't know. Yeah, they'd have to have like a automatic bar that come up and down and stuff. It's like it's just a ledge, man. You know, we talked about ledges last week. They're dangerous. I mean, it's
Yeah.
obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, I was there, I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I mean, I've been to the rail systems in New York. I mean, you can see the rats on the tracks for Christ's sake. Like, there's no
Mm.
guardrails there. SF doesn't have any anywhere. And that just blew my mind. And, uh, I mean, obviously, it's a sad story,
And it
but
made you late. Yeah, and it made you late.
it made us late. And we were all banking on eating dinner there, right? At like 5. The
Ooh.
whole goal was to get there by 5. We would have been there by 5. But due to the delay, we had to transfer lines, and we didn't get to the city until like 5:40, 5:45. And if you don't know, the nearest BART station is like a 35 like a 35 brisk walk to the Chase Center. Like 35 minutes, right? So you really do have to haul ass a little bit. But it's a doable walk. Um but we get out there and we're like, all right, you know what? We're going to take Waymo, which I don't know if you know what Waymo is.
I think I mean it's the driverless like Ubers, right?
Yeah. So iRobot type shit.
Yeah.
And first and foremost, I might be on the other end of the spectrum as you, because like it's not that I'm against the autonomous taxis, right? I'm not
Mm-hmm.
against it. I don't think they're ready to counteract the stupidity of humanity, right? Like just the average driver is not going to be able to account for this,
Is
merging into this lane
are Waymos common? Like how common is it? I mean, because just where
oh,
I'm
they're
at
everywhere.
they're everywhere. Yeah. Okay. So
Well,
in Michigan,
in SF, I mean, like
yeah, that's
I
what I
think
mean. Yeah.
LA has them, and I think
Yeah.
Vegas is starting to have them, but I mean, I don't know if anywhere else really has them yet.
So then I got to rattle off like three different questions. So like you have a separate app, like you obviously know you're calling the Waymo. Like so you have Uber, you have Lyft, and you have
Mm-hmm.
Waymo now, right? Like that's just
Yep,
like a
yep, yep.
thing that everybody in SF has, and you're just gonna look and see. And so is it like if you have an Uber and a way? So I guess which one's more expensive? That's number two. Question number two.
Oh, Waymo's way cheaper. I
Way
would
cheaper.
say
Okay. So
probably almost half the price.
okay. And then
I mean,
it's
you're
like
cutting out the driver fees, so I mean, I guess it makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like just time to get to you. Like so is there a lot of Waymos just sitting around waiting to pick people up or like usually it's hard to get one?
I mean, that was the first time I've taken it. I mean, my friend has taken it
Okay.
a couple times, and he was the more like the veteran for it, and he said, I mean, it's you don't really notice the difference other than there's just not a driver in the car with you,
Totally.
right?
You don't have to make small
um,
talk. That's the whole thing, to get away from the small talk.
and I'm not gonna lie, I've been in a couple Uber rides where I appreciated the small talk, but then there have been times where I'm like, yeah, I could have done just fine without that. But
Uh,
no, I mean, but it's just really tough because like especially during rush hour, you can imagine like these Waymos are trying to like get into a left turn lane or a right turn lane, and like there's already a bunch of other cars lined up. It was the scariest thing. We were in the car, and this left turn lane had like 20 cars that were trying to turn, and it would try to keep squeezing in, and found that there was no gap. Then would go to the car in front of it, try to squeeze in, then go to the next, and it made it all the way to the front. And the guy looked over and just said, "No, we're not letting you go first." The guy looked over and was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go. So you guys figure it out." And the Waymo ended up detouring like another 5-10 minutes because it couldn't turn left there. So I don't know. I just don't think it's ready. But I mean, I guess they're doing all this to collect data and stuff. So I don't know. But the ride itself was really nice. The interior is great. I mean, I think it's a Jaguar car, if I'm
oh,
not
so yeah,
mistaken.
that was like the fourth question that I had. Yeah, so like they have to. So Jaguar is making this Waymo car, is basically what you're saying. So it's a
Yeah, I bet like they're like partnered with the company or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
But yeah,
okay.
it's their cars and they're spacious and nice and oh yeah,
Shoot, yeah, it's a Jaguar.
it was a good ride. It was a good ride.
Why not?
But
Oh,
yeah, so
all right. Did
but
you get there? I mean, yeah. Come on, let me hear.
it's a 35-minute walk to Chase Center from the bar, but we took 45 minutes in the Waymo to get 3 blocks away from the Chase Center, and we ended up walking the rest of the way. So we got to the arena at 6:45, 6:50. And I
Mm.
mean, it was the first time. I know you thought I went with Joa, my son, but uh, me and some of the boys here, we got together, and it was the first time in like the last year we've probably all seen each other. Uh, and so obviously we got a few shots, and next thing led to another. We did make it to the game by like 2 minutes into tip off. Um, but yeah, I'd be lying if I told you I remember like most of the second half.
It's like a Miami Heat situation. I think when people go to Heat games, like just Miami gets them when they show up about like halfway through the second quarter, and then they end up leaving midway through the fourth. So this sounds like San
Yeah.
Francisco is turning into a Miami situation.
Oh, yeah, for us it did just a little bit, but I did rewatch it though because I know we were gonna do the whole recap thing. I did rewatch the whole
You
game,
better. And the funny part
and
was, I got so excited you were going to, because it's a decent representation of how the Pistons team works and how it looks, and everybody
mm,
had their like average to above average nights. So I did want you to watch it. So I'm glad you watched
and I will say I do remember there being quite a few Pistons fans there because I saw a lot of Pistons jerseys. I was rocking my Michigan State Draymond Green custom jersey, so like I was playing neutral, a little neutral, playing into the Warriors as well as the Pistons, but
Oh no, that works. That works.
yeah, and I mean tough loss, but State also played U of M that day, same day, and
Oh
that was a tough
gosh,
one. So
we haven't done any U of M Michigan stuff. Yeah, it was a good game. We're both Michigan State guys. It was a good game. Michigan's got a great team this year. Michigan State's got a great team this year. It's fun. So
yeah,
we'll
I
we'll
we'll
we'll,
see
we'll
them
hit
again, right?
college
Like
basketball.
right before,
Yeah,
yeah, right before
we'll
March,
we'll
I believe we have a game with
we'll
them.
get them. Yeah, we'll get college basketball going here in a little bit. But yeah, NBA
But yeah,
Pistons.
anyways, let's get into the Pistons though, because yeah, that game. I mean, high scoring game first of all. What was it 135,
Yeah.
120 something final score. Pistons ended up pulling it out. Uh, I will say Asar Thompson in particular has changed my mind quite a bit.
He was
Not
the
that
one.
not
So
that
that
not that his offense got any better, but just his defensive prowess, and he was still making plays, making passes, just the defensive energizer bunny. I love that.
Well, he
Um,
stuck to Curry like glue. I mean, everywhere
yeah,
Curry went, especially at the beginning, the first half, especially, even into the third quarter, until what did Curry limp off? Was it the fourth quarter or whatever it was? I don't, I
yep,
don't think it's too serious, but yeah, I mean, that's the whole thing. If you watch the game, and that's what he tried to do to Brunson last year in the playoffs, and that's kind of the dream again for any star player, just with his size. He's 6'7", that he can just stick to pretty much anybody like glue. Like Giannis
yep.
is going to be tough if you give him somebody that big, so we'll have to transfer that to maybe during that assignment. But
hmm
I mean, any small forward, guard, point guard. I mean, Curry's the guy that moves the most probably in the NBA at this point. So
I
yeah,
think by a
no,
long shot too.
so I'm assuming that's what I mean. Just watching how well he moved, I'm assuming is what did it for you, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, so he definitely did, and I'm not gonna lie. Obviously, Cade and Jalen Duren are dogs, and they're
Yeah.
having a hell of a year. But the guy that really stood out to me, though, and I think actually he might be the reason I think the Pistons are as real as they might be right now, uh, is Duncan Robinson.
Oh, there we go. I had no idea. I had like three or four names that
I
could have
I
been.
was watching him. I was watching him, and I mean, granted, I only remember the first half, and then I did rewatch the second half, but he just knows how to get open, and he's not scared to shoot it. And I think that's what they need is just a dog who can shoot, and he's got some attitude behind him, and he's ready to be a bad boy as well. And I think that's good. Like that was a
Oh,
very
I
very good acquisition, and I like him.
100% agree. Yeah, the whole Malik Beasley gambling thing, everybody was kind of freaking out. And then even into the season a little bit, everybody was kind of thinking like, well, they haven't actually arrested Malik Beasley yet. Can we get him back too? Like, we have them both.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think Pistons fans have pretty much leaned into Duncan Robinson as the starting shooting guard, small forward, opposite of Sar Thompson. Um,
Mm-hmm.
for exactly what you're saying, he's probably one of the best shooters in the NBA at this point. Now I know his defense lacks, and so saying he's one of the best shooters in the NBA doesn't necessarily mean he's one of the best players in the NBA. But for what the team needs, exactly what you're saying, the shooting is so bad, and we're going to get into trade deadline here in a second, and how everybody wants them to trade for a shooter, and that might be helpful. But the reason it might not be necessary is because Duncan Robinson is that good of a shooter, and he shoots at volume too. So that's the other thing is, yeah, you can shoot 40% if you shoot 4 3-pointers a game, but he's getting up I think close to 9 a game, which is what you want to
Yeah,
be
he
able to
had
put
10
up
that
there.
game. He went 5 for 10,
Exactly.
right? So
Yeah,
and he's got a
exactly.
good clip, and he can heat up and get a couple going, and he really changed the momentum a couple times in that game too. So that was crazy.
Yeah, no, that's fun. And so when you're sitting there saying this guy changed my mind or whatever, I had three names. I was wondering what you thought about Isaiah Stewart because he looked pretty good in that game. He's pretty tough. He's tough at the rim always. And then Ron Holland was the other one I thought might have caught your eye a little bit. I'm a big Ron Holland guy over here. Big.
I I've heard you say Ron Holland like even before he was a Piston,
Well, I
right?
mean, he was, yeah. I mean, he had like a G League thing. Sure, I mean, he's been around, but yeah, sure.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, no, I mean Isaiah in particular, I've always kind of been keeping an eye on him, and he's been on my fantasy team, so always rooting for him. Um, but yeah, Ron Holland, I think he did all right. Still not super sold. Definitely more sold than Jaden Ivey. I think keeping Jaden Ivey's minutes under 20 minutes is like probably the best thing the team can do because I'm still not sold on him. I feel like he's in no man's land a lot. He also just is a little reckless at times. So keeping that at bay and like keeping him in check, I think is good. But I mean, Ron Holland's just a team player. Like you could kind of just tell like he knows his role. He's just kind of staying in that pocket. So
Oh,
um,
exactly.
that's
Yeah,
what I noticed
that's
from him.
Oh, 100%. And that's what you need out of him right now. And so let's stick on Ivy and let's take Ivy into the trade deadline talk because that's really the name that's going to come up among Pistons fans at the trade deadline is are we going to dump Ivy? So he's on the last year of his contract. We could bring him back. He'll be a restricted free agent. We could bring him back and maybe we will bring him back next year, but
Hmm.
it would make a little sense to trade him. And to your point, I was kind of sketching out what a playoff rotation would look like. And I think as it stands right now, Jay Ivey would not be in the rotation if the playoffs started tomorrow. So
Mm-hmm.
I got the starters that you saw: Cade, Duncan Robinson, Thompson, Tobias Harris, Jalen Duren. Isaiah Stewart, Ron Holland are the first two out the bench, and then Dennis Jenkins is playing. He's
He
he's good. He's good. He's just good. He's playing better than Ivy, and he plays the role more that we need that Ivy doesn't play. So he's just a pure Jenkins is point guard. Like you give him the ball, he gets in the paint, he distributes. Off the bench, 4 or 5 assists a game, shoots the ball well. He's strong enough, a lot of energy. He's just the guard you want off the bench. And Ivy does a lot of those things, but he's just not a point guard. And really, what you need is when Cade's not in the game, who's going to run the show? And it's the Dennis
and just
Jenkins
make less
show.
mistakes. I think that's what it comes down to, right? Like
Yeah.
what you need from your bench is not to run up the score or do anything. It's literally just don't make mistakes. Don't make
Yeah.
mistakes. Let your boys get some rest because you coming out in about 5-10 minutes anyways. Like
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And so with that, just trade deadline is this week, and it's been Super Bowl week the last couple of years, and it's the stupidest thing. The NBA needs to work on their schedule here because we
Hmm.
need Super Bowl just needs to be this week. Make the NBA trade deadline next week. The sports are they're smart enough at the top where we need to figure this out. But either way, so yeah, trade deadline is Thursday, I believe, and the only trades that would make sense is you have to take one of the guys that are in the 8-man rotation that I just said, and you're going to have to add Ivy to it. And then you'd probably have to add like a first round pick. If you could add this year's first round pick, it's going to be like a pick in the late 20s. So that might be something the Pistons would be thinking about parting with. So, and that exact trade was floated out there from Michael Porter Jr. pretty much was Tobias Harris, Jaden Ivey, and a first round pick, whether it be 2026 or maybe it's 2028, whatever it may be. When I first read that trade, I was pretty hesitant. I do like Tobias Harris. I'm not going to go as far as to say you can't trade Tobias Harris because he's such an integral part of the team that we would just fall apart if we traded Tobias. I don't think it's quite that. I mean, Cade is obviously what makes the whole thing run. So you probably could get away with trading Tobias and not have the culture collapse. I've never been the biggest fan of Michael Porter Jr., but to your point earlier about we basically only have Duncan Robinson out there shooting, and it's so obvious as a fan when you show up on the court that this guy is the only one out there letting it fly from three. Michael Porter Jr. has substantially increased his trade value since going to the Nets. He's averaging over 25 points a game this year, which a lot of those I don't put a lot of value into that because the team is so bad. The Pistons just blew the Nets off the court tonight. Right now, I think they're up by like 40, maybe more. Right now, the Nets are horrible, and so averaging 25 points a game on a horrible team does not do a ton for me. But he does shoot 40% volume from three at volume, so he is at 9 shots a game, essentially shooting 40%, which is pretty much what you want with in the Pistons lineup to replace Tobias with if you could replace him or if you were to replace him. And so there's a lot of trades out there. There's $13 million trade exception that the Pistons could use just to make a minor upgrade to. I don't even think it's going to be an upgrade to the 8-man rotation. It might just be to the bench in case an injury happens. That's why there was the rumor about Jose Alvarado. I don't know if you read that one, that the Pistons did check in on Alvarado, which does fit the Pistons culture right now. So if that were to happen, I would imagine Pistons fans, you'd see like the $13 million trade exception put together with a couple second round picks, and that gets you Jose Alvarado, and then maybe Marcus Sasser goes out in that deal. I don't know, but it's not going to be a huge deal. So I would assume that deal is more likely a lower level deal like that. But maybe I'm coming around on maybe Michael Porter Jr. I don't know. I'm coming.
No, I'm really hoping they don't do that. I don't know. Michael Porter, I mean, especially in the interviews he's had since he's been on the Nets, like how he's comfortable in this role, like this is what he wants. He reminds me of like a Jordan Poole, like
Mm-hmm.
can ball, but like what the Pistons need right now is like that team player, like that integral part that's just going to hold it down. And which I think Tobias will do a good job of that. He's still a lockdown defender. I mean,
Enough.
I mean, what he's probably the third option on the team, maybe fourth. So I mean, I think that's just what we need from a vet like that, versus trying to get Michael Porter, who might have a big head, might try to take the ball a little bit out of Cade's hand too, which I don't know if we really need that all that much. So I don't know. That's my take on it. We'll see. I guess who knows what some of these GMs do, but I do like the Jose Alvarado one though because
That's likely.
he's
Honestly,
scrappy.
I
He's
would.
scrappy.
Yeah,
He's scrappy.
that exact trade. There's a chance, or a trade like that. I would say there's a chance.
I mean, honestly, just swap him for Ivy. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it.
Well, but that's. I don't think they want to do that. I think they would keep. I think there's a line. You can't trade Ivy for that. There's you probably got to get a little bit more than. I mean, he's
I don't have
just
as much stock in him, so you can clearly tell.
Yeah, that's not enough. That's not enough. Well, how about is Paul George available? Did you see? So I I do think it's funny where I don't believe everybody that fails a drug test just accidentally took the wrong sick medicine. There's got to be a point where that excuse doesn't fly anymore. Like Paul went for that one, and actually, not to rip Paul's character, but when I first saw it, I thought it might have been like a cocaine or like a hard drug type of thing, because it was Shams was very vague at the beginning, and I was like, oh man, he's just getting a flat drug suspension. Like, yikes! But no, I don't know. PEDs. I'll go back to I did make the joke last week that ACLs and hamstrings. Everybody's failing drug tests. So
Hmm.
it's definitely out there. I don't think it's cough medicine. Sorry, Paul. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, it's crazy what Drew's suspicion is that like he's been having a pretty rough season and then he just randomly blew up with that 35, 36 point game.
He had a
and then
good couple weeks.
and then the commission was like, what happened between then and now? You're a different guy.
Oh man.
That's funny though.
So with that's low level conspiracy. I want to go higher level conspiracy with you, and it's funny too because you said you were going to be the conspiracy guy, but I got one here for you that
I'm ready.
I've
I'm
heard.
ready.
I've heard it in the lower, the dark parts of the internet a little bit, but it's not out mainstream yet. So, Bill Belichick was not a first ballot NFL Hall of Famer. Not really a huge deal in the grand scheme of things. The obvious question is, well, what coaches were first ballot Hall of Famers? And there were three, and they all make sense. It's Landry, it's Noel from the Steelers, and then it's Shula from the Dolphins, who all have similar like amount of wins as Belichick, but Belichick has doubled Super Bowls at pretty much everybody. So it is kind of silly if that's the standard that he didn't get in. But I'm less worried about that. And the conspiracy that I believe in is Belichick has never been more popular in the media in just everybody's eyes than he is today, right now, when we're February 1st, 2026. Like you look around social media, everybody is posting about how Bill got snubbed and like how could you do this to
Hmm.
Bill's the greatest thing and how good of a coach Bill was and how good of a winner Bill was. And he never got that when he was winning Super Bowls. That was not always the storyline he was getting. And with that, his girlfriend Jordan Hudson has been behind the scenes for a while, and I think this is her first victory on the battlefield. I think she pulled this off. I think she got to the Hall of Fame voters. I think she saw the whole thing. She played it all out in her head. She goes, "Wait, if I can not, if we can withhold him from the Hall of Fame just one year, he'll get in next year, no problem." The public outcry would be such that it would be love that Bill's never felt. And then, as a girlfriend, maybe she does love Bill, and then maybe she just wanted Bill to feel that love. I
So the conspiracy,
believe.
she's the mastermind behind this whole
Oh,
thing.
by the whole thing, yeah, Jordan didn't let him in. Yeah, she went to all the voters and she made sure that they voted no. Yeah, no, that was absolutely what happened. Yeah, they blamed it on Bill
Oh, it's
Polian.
amazing.
Yeah, no, Jordan did it. Yeah, and I'm giving her like that's a victory. She did good for her. Finally got one. A lot of bad press for her. I think she got one here.
Oh, that's crazy.
I,
You know what? I don't mind it.
yeah,
You never know at this point either.
you want to
But
stick?
I mean,
Yeah, go for it.
I personally, this might be a hot take. I mean, like, is the snub that bad of a snub? Because I mean, he's obviously gonna make it eventually, right?
No,
But I don't know. People are like, oh my god, if he doesn't make it. But I mean, you look at it. When Brady wasn't there, he had like a less than 45% winning percentage, right?
well, there's sure,
So I mean,
sure.
like I'm not trying to take anything away from him, but I'm just saying like, if we're gonna start counting stuff, let's count everything. Tom Brady did add a lot to his success, right?
Well, that's the whole thing. That's why I'm saying he wasn't getting the love during the run. He did win two as a DC with the Giants,
Hmm.
or whoever he was. Yeah, that might have been right. I don't know. Yeah, whatever he was. Um, but yeah.
Yeah. Plus, he had. I mean, I'm sure there were people who didn't vote him for. He also had like allegations, right? Where Spygate and
Well, that's what
Deflategate and all that. So.
yeah, that's what the news went with. Like that was the storyline is that Bill Polian told the voters that we need to withhold his Hall of Fame 1 year essentially, just as punishment for him being a cheater, which he was a cheater, and I think at this point everybody's okay with it. Like the lines, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Like it wasn't like he was cheating in ways that were like illegal in the real world. He was just cheating in football. Like he was just cheating in football ways. Like he wasn't like kidnapping and kneecapping people. Like he was filming practices. So in like yeah, I would be more sympathetic to people that try to do things like that because it's your full time job. Like I'm sorry, when there's that much money involved, like this stuff is
You
gonna
gotta win.
happen. You
You
gotta
gotta get
win.
wins.
Like it just is what it is. And so the guy won for a long time, and yeah, he probably crossed a few lines while he did it.
You're bound to though, right? It's
We
hard to be at
always,
the top for that long and then,
I
not
mean,
cross any lines.
look at Harbaugh. That dude's always in controversy.
uh, but while we're on the topic of football, Super Bowl's coming up.
Got
I
it this week.
know. Yep, yep. So, how are you feeling about it going into this? Like, you got any?
So, yeah, like major takeaways. It's not the star power that you usually get for a Super Bowl. So like
Mm,
your wife, my wife, if we're gonna go to a Super Bowl party, they probably could not name one player on the field.
mm,
And that hasn't been the case lately because the Chiefs have been in it and everybody knows Patrick Mahomes. And even the Eagles, like they do have a couple guys that people know. I mean, and Jalen Hurts is probably more famous at this point than either quarterback that are playing next weekend.
oh,
So
definitely.
yeah, definitely. So it's been a while since we've had a Super Bowl that didn't have a current star. Now, people are going to argue that Drake May, 10 years from now, we're going to look back and, well, this is Drake May's first Super Bowl. Drake May was the star, and we just didn't know it yet. That could very well be true. And
Drake
Mike,
May.
yeah, exactly, yeah. and the joke, whatever, on one of the podcasts I listened to earlier at the beginning of the year was they were calling him Drake Maybe because they weren't even sure if he was going to be good. Like it was like
Ah.
this is really like Drake. This is his first year. And then Darnold obviously has all the storylines that go with him, and that's really fun. So usually, if you paired the Darnold storylines up with maybe a more seasoned quarterback storylines, then maybe you could sell a pretty good Super Bowl here. But if this was like a boxing fight, you'd have promoters having a hard time selling this boxing fight a little
well,
bit.
I got some numbers for you. All right.
All right,
Before I go
shoot.
into, who do you think is gonna win? You know, I got some numbers for you. Okay.
I'm
Sam
ready.
Darnold is 0-4 against the Patriots with a
Ooh.
minus 100 point differential.
Well, okay. So, are you gonna state the obvious, or am I gonna state the obvious? So, Sam Darnold was the quarterback for the Jets when he was a rookie, and the Patriots were very, very good. And I imagine. So, you said 4 starts.
Yep.
So,
Yep. 0
I,
4. I'm just throwing that
yeah.
out there.
So he must have
Numbers
been
don't lie,
hurt.
though. Numbers don't lie. Okay.
That is
Um.
surprising that he only played him 4 times in the 4 or 5 years he was there. That is actually kind of
Mhm.
surprising.
All right, and these ones are less targeted, but so since 2000, teams traveling east have lost to teams traveling west. And I saw this on Twitter. I think it was Jay Kuda that posted this. But it's just every single game, every single time.
Oh,
That's how it's happened.
just flat
Yeah,
out. It's
flat
not
out.
even like a
Since 2000, it's not. There's not been any back and forth.
whoa.
I mean, there have been some teams that obviously had home field because Super Bowl just happened to be
Yeah,
at their place. But
L.A.
when both teams have to travel, yep, the team traveling west seems to be the winner. So in this case, it would be the Patriots.
So that is something that being in Big Ten country, that the West Coast teams that joined the Big Ten, most people would say you have no right to complain, like you did this to yourself, you joined the Big Ten, but they really complain about the West Coast teams coming east, and that would align with what you're saying. Is for
Hmm.
some reason it's easier to travel east to west than it is west to east, and so part of that is, I guess, yeah. I mean, you're losing time either way. So I guess we'd have to bring on someone
Well,
a
you'd
little
be
bit
gaining
smarter than
time
that.
when you come west. You'd be gaining
Well,
time.
I mean, but you got to go one way, or and then you got to go back the other. So at one point you're losing, and at one point you're gaining. So it's just, I guess, it's when it's happening. So you get the time when you're traveling back. Yeah, so that does make sense. You'd rather have the time when you're going there than have the time when you're traveling back. So
Because
that
that's the
that
same for
that
me right now. Like when I go visit, family in Michigan, like dread going there because every time I get there, it's like 11 p.m., 12 p.m., regardless of,
mm,
what time I leave in the morning. But then when I come back, I can get here at like 10, 11 a.m., and I'll be leaving there at like 7.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So that tracks. Yeah.
yeah, there is a little bit of science to it. I got a few more for you, though. Uh, the Patriots are undefeated with a 6-0 record wearing white this year. Okay? And to even add further to that, throughout history, the team wearing white has won 63% of the time, and even in the last 10 years, they're 7-3. So the team wearing
So
white just seems to be winning, and they've already. I believe Seattle chose that they wanted to wear their colored uniforms, so the Patriots are forced to wear their white ones, and I don't think they have a problem with it.
so this is two in favor of the Patriots, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah. All of these so far are basically in favor of the Patriots.
Cool. Okay. Fair enough. Okay.
Every single one of these.
Fair enough. Okay.
And my last one I got for you is the Patriots have won 4 straight games as underdogs, not played at home.
Oh yeah. What is the line? Sorry, keep going. I gotta look up the line while
Yep.
you're doing that.
Yep. I think the Seahawks have it.
It was 3.5, or has it changed? That's why I want to
I
make sure.
thought it was 3.5 last I saw it. So
Okay, so we'll assume 3.5 right now.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, all these numbers are really pointing to the Patriots. But before I get my pick, I just want to see who are you going with for the Super Bowl?
So yeah, I'm gonna pick before you gave me all that beautiful information. I would have picked the Patriots too. I probably subscribe to the theory that Drake May is one of the future quarterback stars in the NFL. I'm not sure he's going to go to the amount of Super Bowls that Tom Brady did. Like, obviously, that's unrealistic. But, just along the lines of, I think we will start to talk about him with, like, the Joe Burrows, like, in that level of quarterback. So,
Okay.
so I think I'm picking them. I'm picking them because of Drake May. I think this is kind of the start of something with him. I'm a fan, which sucks. I cannot believe they have another one. I just cannot believe it. And I like this one. That's what makes it worse. Like, Brady was obviously easy to hate. We were young, and he was kind of, when you win right away and just being the team in Boston, like, nobody outside of Boston ever cheers for, the teams in Boston. I guess some people became Patriots fans because of Brady, but gosh darn it, Drake May's likable, man. That's crazy. It's just not fair. It's just not fair.
Well, I'm glad you went that way because the direction I was going to go is even with all this said, I'm going with the Seattle Seahawks. I just really love what they got there in terms of JSN and Kenneth Walker. I think they have more weapons in terms of, real star power. And I think it's just going to show. I think defenses are about the same. If anything, New England probably has a slight edge, right? In terms of like analytics, right? But
maybe I don't know about
I think
that.
it's marginal.
I wouldn't say that. Just going off the public vibe, like Seattle's defense, it was like Denver and Seattle, and the Patriots a little bit too. But like it was always Denver and Seattle. Like you talk about best defense in the NFL. Like I feel like those two were always the one they were going to toss around. And the head coach for Seattle is a defensive guy, so which so Vrabel is obviously too. So yeah, no, I mean you're nailing it though. They're both. That's why they're there. Two good defenses, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I like my pick. We'll see what happens. I personally have it being somewhat of a blowout, but we'll see.
Ooh, wow, that's wild. Yeah, I guess being a 3.5 point spread or whatever. I was talking about joking that you had to sell a boxing fight. You would sell this fight on it being even, and it could go either way. Like there's you asked 100 people, it's probably going to be 50-50 who you taking. It depends maybe what side of the country you live on. Just got East Coast team versus West Coast team. And I actually I like that personally. I've always loved just when it just I know the NFC and AFC don't necessarily split it down the middle like others do. So, but just West Coast team, East Coast team, I like that. That's just fun for the country. Once Drake May, once they go up 28 in the fourth quarter, then we'll roll. I gotta get my bets together.
Oh, I wanted to revisit something though because I got into a couple conversations about the NBA trade deadline and how the Warriors, because obviously all my friends here are Warriors fans,
sure,
and they're all gung ho about getting Giannis.
Oh my goodness,
and
they want to do that.
I just wanted to see what your take was on it because for me, I think they have to give up too much to get him, and I don't necessarily know if it's not going to guarantee them a championship.
So here's what would have to happen, and it's not the ball started rolling, but it started rolling too late. So Giannis represents himself, and the problem is
Hmm.
when you make these giant trades, is a lot of time the agent is really involved in calling the GMs because the GM of the Milwaukee Bucks doesn't want to get caught calling all the teams trying to figure out the value of Giannis and getting offers from everybody, because then he can go to the media and say like, we're not trading Giannis, I haven't called anybody, but really the agent's been in the background, and the agent's going to the GM and he's saying like, here's what you got, we can negotiate, but here's your starting points pretty much with all these teams. And right
Hmm.
now, Giannis is represented by himself or like his brother, or I'm not exactly sure how it's working. But Rich Paul, one of the more powerful agents in the NBA. I know at the beginning it might not have, like, his name was a little bit of a joke, but at this point, Rich Paul is absolutely one of the more powerful agents in the NBA.
Hmm.
Has successfully relocated star players and probably done it with the trade. When you would look at the trade and look at the value each team's getting and think there's really no way this trade's going to work. I don't want to say he's been strong arming teams, but he kind of has a little bit of reputation of getting Anthony Davis to LA. Was he kind of strong armed that. So
Hmm.
all that being said, Warriors fans, if you really wanted to get Giannis, you would have wanted him to officially have Rich Paul be his agent. That would have been a good sign for you, because what you need is Giannis to go to Milwaukee and say it's pretty much San Francisco or nothing. Which I don't think Giannis would do, because he doesn't. Giannis has really protective of his reputation. That's you can tell that matters to him how he's perceived. So I don't think he's going to do that, but that's the only way he becomes a Warrior, because the Warriors' offer isn't that good. Like, it would have to be Kaminga, like Draymond, and then like you're throwing in like Moody and Przemski, and
And
like
probably a
you're
couple
not gonna.
first rounds, right?
That's not even like all of the first rounds, every single one, because, and you're not going to give up all those guys, because just a 5-for-1 trade doesn't make sense. But it's like a combination of three of those and how the salaries match up. And just from the Milwaukee's perspective, like, I don't want to be a homer, but like the Pistons can make a better offer than that. So
Mm.
but they can. But that takes me back to my first point: is Giannis would have to tell Milwaukee, it's San Francisco, New York, or nothing. And then you have San Francisco and New York pit each other against each other, and neither of those teams can make the best offer out there. But
Hmm.
that would then they just got to take it, I guess. So that's the only way. Rich Paul, and he's going to have to demand it.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at it. I was like, I mean, I think New York. I mean, especially since he's even said he like would prefer New York because that's what he said, right,
Oh yeah.
Giannis?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh
So
yeah.
I mean, but
Been
I
out
mean,
there for
I feel
years.
like that would make more sense. But I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. But I got into a little heated
Oh,
argument because I was like, first of all, I don't think it's gonna happen, and second of all, I don't even know if it makes that much sense for you guys.
oh, I'm okay with it. I mean, just you take everybody else aside, like Steph and Giannis. That makes sense. Like, I'm not sure if you can build a team, like if you're going to go that route, and like real life, like in a vacuum, Steph and Giannis work, but in real life in San Francisco, like with the salary cap, I'm not sure if they could actually build a team around him. But I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, you're
Maybe.
basically banking on winning this year, and if you don't, then you just gave up your whole future. I'm like, that just seems, I don't know, a little ridiculous to me. But who am I? I'm no GM or player.
We're gonna get in. We should get into the Warriors eventually, at a later time, just because, yeah. How are they gonna handle Steph in these next couple of years? I mean, that's a good conversation. I mean,
That's a big question.
it's a
Yep,
it's a big question. It really is. Yeah.
yep. It's a
That's a
sensitive topic here. I don't think anyone's ready for it.
that's fun. I know.
He's like the pride and joy of SF right now.
Oh, he will be forever. I mean, that's something that doesn't end. I mean,
Mm.
ideally he's 70 years old, still going, showing up once a year to the Stephen Curry Chase Center or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, they're probably gonna name the thing after him
Get a
eventually.
statue out there, which
Oh my goodness,
players
100%.
apparently don't want those anymore.
Oh, why? Because none of them look good.
Yeah, I mean, because you heard Derrick Rose, right? Just recently
Wait,
in
he
an
he
interview,
doesn't want one.
they were like, "Oh, do you
Well,
want a statue?" He's like, "Not if it looks like Dwayne's."
well, no. But first of all, if we're gonna go down like that road, I guess you can give a statue to whoever you want. Like, who am I to tell you? But like in Chicago specifically, you have a standard that's been set. Like, you can't just give a guy wins an MVP gets a statue. Um,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Like, he didn't, like, he made one finals. Like what are we doing here? Building a
Yeah, but
statue?
You know.
I get he's likable. But like I personally never, especially late in his career, I never understood why he had such the run he did. But yeah, no, that's ridiculous. No, but it is funny though. None of those statues kind of turn out like going back to Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, if you remember that one, like that
Oh my
was
goodness, that one was
it's
crazy.
been a while. It's harder to find the statue that you're like, oh my gosh. Like even just going local here, the Magic Johnson statue. Like the first thing people said when they saw that statue was, why did we build a statue for Bill Russell? Like Magic Johnson
Mhm.
played here, and so like it's just like yeah, the statues have always been a thing. Like it's hard. There's not a lot of sculptors. We're not producing sculptors anymore.
I think before we leave the sports topic, I do want to get into the Winter X Games though,
That's
because
cool.
those just wrapped up, and first I want to give a couple people their flowers.
Let's do it. I love it.
Yeah, because we got Mark McMorris, who just became
Mm-hmm.
the most winningest winter athlete in X Games history with 25 career medals. Phenomenal,
Pretty good.
phenomenal this year. Scotty James just tied Sean White for
Yeah, I
the
saw
most
this.
snowboard superpipe gold medals.
I saw this. Mm-hmm.
He also
Good
had
for
a
him.
great run. Uh, and then a couple shout outs to Kokomo Murase, first woman
Mm-hmm.
to ever land a backside 1620 triple cork. I had to rewatch that a few times because I still couldn't figure out how many spins that was.
They're
Uh,
hard. You got to watch them a few
yeah.
times. Those tricks where they grab and where they spin. I know it's fun. It's awesome. I love it. But you do have to watch them a few times.
Yeah, and then I thought that was crazy, but then after that, I saw the Hiroto. I don't know how to say his last name very well.
The
Ogiwara?
Japanese guy. Yeah,
Ogiwara?
the
Yeah, yeah,
Japanese.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
20-year-old Hiroto pulled off a
Mm-hmm.
backside 2340 melon, which is, I believe, 6.5 spins
Dude,
going the other way, which
I
I'm
don't
just
know.
like, bro, I can't even, like, carve properly. How are you doing all that?
I know, and there's still, and we need a new star in snowboarding. I mean, it's been hard. I mean, it's hard to build a star in snowboarding. Shaun White just was
Mhm.
American and it worked out. But yeah, because these guys are doing ridiculous things, as you're pointing out. Like these
Mm.
are unbelievable feats that they're pulling off, and they probably should be celebrated more. I mean, like just unbelievable. Six and a half spins? You
Yeah.
kidding me? Like, come
I mean,
on.
I can't say I'm super tapped in to the snowboarding
Oh,
and skiing world to like really understand like how celebrated these guys are, but like yeah, some of these moves I'm like, because I mean a lot of the kids that placed this year they're like in their teens. I because there was who was it,
hmm
the skier I believe, the Finley Melville Isles I think is his name. He just placed gold, right, and he's
hmm
only 19. And then there was the uh the snowboard knuckle huck. I didn't watch that one, but 16-year-old rookie Jessica Perlmuther claimed gold on that one. I did watch her last run though, and I mean she's doing this like slow mo flip, like she's like gliding like Superman, and then last second just like doing a flip and like landing. I'm like, yo, how these are insane. But I was gonna ask you like, what's your take on like all because I think even in the skateboarding world, all these super young kids are coming up, and like they're just able to do things I don't think some of the older guys can even do. Is that like I don't know? Is there like a entry age you think there needs to be, or do you know if they even have something like that? Because I mean, there was the skateboarder who like started off in her or in his 13, 14th year. Like they're little, but they're able to just do some of these things. I think it's because they're lighter or whatnot. But I don't know. It's pretty crazy. What's your take on that?
Well, it's been going on for a while. So specifically with the Olympics, it seems to come out more. It's these types of sports where you're twisting your body, like gymnastics, and then during the winter, it's the skateboarding or sorry, snowboarding and skiing. Those type of. It's the tricks though. The racing, it's not necessarily you don't have to be young, but it's something about when you're young, your ligaments. It's just science. Like you can spin a little easier, and the hard truth is also when you fall, it hurts a little less when you're 16 versus when you're
There's
28.
that.
There's that too. So, but I mean, honestly, I think Shaun White won that last gold at half pipe. Was he like 28 or 20? I don't know if he was 30, but I mean, that's impressive as heck. Like that's as
Mm-hmm.
impressive as it gets because of that. And so, yeah, but going back to what I was saying, I mean, this was, going on, gymnastics. I remember when the U.S. was competing against when China used to have a good run in gymnastics. The joke in the U.S. was they were all 13. All the Chinese gymnasts was 13, and I always used to say, well, who cares? Like at that time, I was only 10 years old, but I'm like, I mean, like they're beating us. I guess
Mm-hmm.
who cares? But there's a larger point of like, I guess, and we were probably getting some not right propaganda, but we were being told that, oh, in China they'd get shipped off to these athletic factories at 7 years old, and then by the time they're 13, they're these gymnastic phenoms. But they basically just kept them in cages and taught them gymnastics and then fed them food for whatever, which I'm sure is not the case. But like, that's what
Mm-hmm.
America loves to do is we love to do that. We love to paint that story. So so I personally have no problem with it, as long as it's reasonable to a certain point. Like I guess we probably, if we're water gun to my head, do we got to put age to it? Like maybe it's 16, maybe it is. That probably seems right because you are traveling internationally, and competing at a level where I'm sure you could get a psychiatrist to say that like a 13-year-old probably doesn't need to be put under that type of stress.
Mm-hmm.
And it's maybe not the best thing in the world. But I don't know. I mean, at the same time, if the Olympics are the Olympics, man. If you're the best, you're the best. That's kind of what it is. And the purity is what makes sport amazing. And that's we're going to try to take politics out of it here in a couple months. I'm not sure if it's going to or in a couple weeks. I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but they're going to try to just have the purity of the sport going on for a couple weeks there over there in Italy. And I hope it happens because it is nice, when that happens. But at the same time, obviously, when there's real world things that are probably more important. But
Yeah.
I get that.
Well, go down a few more of these because I know we were both hopeful that Chloe Kim was going to be healthy enough to participate, but
Mm-hmm.
we know she was saving her recovery for the Olympics because that's coming up soon
Mm-hmm.
too, right?
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
she did not participate in the X Games, is what you're trying to say.
Yes, yes, yes. Yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No, but she's still on track though, right? There's no setbacks yet, right? She's on the Olympic team.
for
She's
the
on the
Olympics,
roster.
yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah,
She's
yeah.
still
We're
good for
good.
the Olympics. But yeah,
Yeah,
she had to sit out for the X Games this year.
yeah, no, and that does stink. And that is one thing that's a bucket list still for me. I know it's kind of gone up and down in popularity over the years, but I would love to get out to an X Games. That would be fun.
That'd be fun to watch. Yeah, for sure.
It's the biggest
We
event
had
that they got. Yeah.
yeah. We had Christy Muir, who became the first woman from Scotland to ever medal. So congrats to her. And
Ooh,
we
so
had
yeah, they
Luca.
just don't have yeah, they just don't have big mountains in Scotland. So that's just kind of random, right? Why no Scotland athlete to ever met? I
Actually,
think.
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway,
Well, I was thinking
sorry.
about that too, and I was like, because there's a lot of Australian X Game athletes, and I was like, do they have mountains like
They
that
do.
in
Yeah, no, they
Australia?
do. Yep, they
Okay.
do on one parts. I don't know if they're faking a little bit of the snow, but yeah, I think like
Hmm.
New Zealand. Once you get down in there, they got them in New Zealand for sure. So I think whatever part of Australia is closer to New Zealand,
Okay, that
you're
makes
getting
sense
you're
then.
getting you're getting some mountains over there.
Yeah, I'm no geography expert, so
I
but
pretend to
we
be.
got and we got Luca Harrington, who became only the third person in history to secure back-to-back gold medals in men's ski slopestyle. So shout
Yeah.
out to Luca as well. But yeah, that's all I had for the X Games. But yeah, I did watch a lot of the highlights from it, and just obviously I watched all the podium medalists, all their
Mhm.
runs. And man, these guys are just phenomenal what they can do out there.
I pretty much watch half pipe. Like that's one thing. Like no matter what, like I'll sometimes catch some other events,
Mm-hmm.
but men's snowboard half pipe without a doubt. X Games we'll watch every year. Kind of one of those things like the hot dog eating contest, or just you have those individual events that like like you make time for, and absolutely X Games snowboarding half pipe is one of them.
The Big Ear one, if you don't watch it enough, I think that's what the one that's growing on me because I mean
It's
they
good.
just get
I,
one sick like
hmm
move in there, and it's just like whoa.
and that's the event that he's doing the 6.5 spins in, right? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
exactly?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. 'Cause obviously
But it's
nobody's doing
crazy
that
because
in
they
half pipe.
like
Yeah.
at the top, like some of these people, they'll like I don't know if it's their coaches or who on their team, but they're like launching them down to start to give them a little extra
Mhm.
boost. I'm like, bro, they're like, isn't a lot of this like, just you go a little too fast, a little too slow, like something could go like really wrong too, right? Like it's not like
Absolutely. Kidding
there's
me?
a lot of physics and science behind this. So I'm like, yo, you're trusting these guys to sling you a certain speed and like you can
Mm-hmm.
maintain all this in your head and then go out there and actually pull the trick off. Like, man, that's freaking insane.
All those are dangerous. Like it actually is surprising that you don't get more just really bad crashes live on, because that is part of
Mm-hmm.
the X Games. You do get some bad ones, but I'm almost surprised you don't get more bad ones, just because people do lay it all on the line for X Games and the
And
Olympics
they
here. Which
biff it. There was a couple biffs this year too. Like they hit the ice hard. I don't know if it's like more powder. Like, do they make sure it's like a little bit more powdery, or do they keep it
oh,
packed?
I'm
Like, how
sure.
does that work?
Well, yeah, I'm sure. I mean, you got to land still, so like it's not like you can just make it like a pillow because those guys are used to landing
Mm-hmm.
on whatever type of ground they're landing on. So I'm sure I'm sure it's got to be perfect. Like I'm sure those athletes are they're looking at the landing area before they take off. Like, are we good down here? Where am I going to land? Blah blah blah. So I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing. Yeah.
Whew. Well, this year, yeah, they pulled out some crazy stunts. So we'll see what some of these guys like Hiroto have going for us next year, even.
Yeah, so I'm super excited for the Olympics, and the one event I do want to hit that I just joked about the half pipe and the hot dog eating contest being ones. When the Winter Olympics come around, by far my favorite event is the short track speed skating, and
Mm-hmm.
specifically the relays. The relays I die for. When they are flying around that short track, and then the
Mm-hmm.
next guy gets out there, and they come up from behind him and they shove him from his butt and they get him
Mm-hmm.
going, and it is so impressive. And it's one of those things where also it's so like visually pleasing to watch, just because they are zooming around the track, zooming.
Mm-hmm.
um and America sucks at it. I remember Apollo Anton Ono has been our last one, I think, to even come close. I think he medaled once individually, and then maybe we got a relay medal in there. I mean, this is like back probably in like '04 or something. I mean, it's probably been 20 years since Apollo Anton Ono was doing anything. Um, but yeah, that's the one. Just that's my 30-second Winter Olympic preview. Is, man, do I love short track speed skating?
Well, we'll touch on that when we get there. I actually saw this one. I think we go into your Amy Poehler Flower of the Week
Yeah,
here because I actually want to
yeah,
get into this because
yeah. This is a sad one. This is a real
you
sad one.
you know me. I'm a avid Home Alone fan. I watch it
Yeah.
every year for Christmas.
It's one of the best. I'm with you on that. I would put Home Alone as probably one of the best Christmas movies. That's an every year for me for
Mhm.
sure. Yeah.
But take it away, man, because this person really needs their flowers.
Amy Poehler's Flowers of the Week.
Yeah, so Catherine O'Hara passed away this past week. And she has been on top of her craft for a long time. So first saw her. There's this movie called Best in Show. Is the first thing I remember seeing her in. Was in a lot of those comedies as like the mom or the older sister or things like that. She was playing that character, and then she was popular, throughout, basically her whole acting career, going from that to Home Alone. But then even more recently, her last few roles might have been her most popular. No, like I know she's been an actress for a long, long time, but Schitt's Creek
Mm.
was might have been that might have been her best. I don't want to say best, but most popular, most well received acting credit. And then personally, I've been watching Seth Rogen's The Studio recently, and oh my
Oh, is she in
gosh,
that?
she's amazing in that. She's an
Oh, I gotta
integral
watch
part
that.
in that. And I don't know if they've filmed season 2. I probably should have done the research to see what her what's the last thing that she's filmed that's going to be out there. um I wouldn't be surprised if they filmed Studio season 2, and if she has a lot of scenes in that. But
Mm.
yeah, she's fantastic in The Studio. The Studio is a fantastic show. It is one of those shows where I can only watch one episode at a time, cannot binge it. The anxiety level of when you watch a show and just like everybody in the show is making the wrong decision at all times, and that makes the anxiety level just off the charts. That's the studio. That's Seth's show. I literally, my fingernails and toenails and eyebrows could not handle binging that show. It's so stressful. But Catherine O'Hara, lifelong amazing actress. Very, very, very sad to see her pass away. And she deserves her flowers. Let's give it up for Catherine. Give it up for Catherine. What was your favorite of hers? What do you got? What do you got on Catherine?
I mean, I did watch Schitt's Creek. Actually, I think you recommended that to me a while back. But I mean, Home Alone will always be my favorite. Yeah. I've watched, I watch both of them religiously every year, and she's kind of like a second, third mom to me. Like, like, I mean, just to know how far she would go to try to get back to her son in that movie is. It's just,
it is funny.
You could just feel it the whole time, every single movie.
Oh, it hits differently now too. You got kids. Like, you watch that movie now, it's a whole new movie. 100%, it's a whole new movie. Like, you don't understand the stress, and they probably, and the joke of a parent is, there's probably one or two scenes where she might lose it even more. But and then I do love that how she goes through hell to get home, and then the family gets it's like 15-20 minutes later, the rest of the family rolls through.
Yeah, they show up right after.
It's the best one. I love that.
It's the best punchline.
It's the best.
And she was trying to trade her Rolex and her her diamond earrings and her watch. I was like, dude, you're giving up your whole life just to get back. And your family shows up 5 minutes later. That's crazy.
But actually, though, I would say that's the part where now, as a parent, you look back and obviously, who gives a damn about this Rolex on my wrist right now? Like, get me home. But
but yeah, that one will always be on my Christmas list. So.
And in the passing was shocking too. She was 71, early 70s, something like that. And it was an illness. I think the details are still a little bit murky.
Wasn't it cancer related? I could have sworn it
was
cancer related.
So has it come out as that? It did say it was an illness that did it, but her immune system might have been killed because of what you're saying. That she probably had some type of disease that we
don't quote me on it. We can ask Josh to fact check anything, but yeah, that was what I heard.
He's sleeping. It's hilarious that you just brought up his name. Josh is currently sleeping. Hold on.
We're gonna dock your pay.
I am. He's awake now. Okay. You got anything to vent about? You got anything to vent about this week? We got not okay, or we got anything dad related to vent about?
No. I do want to get into something. Let's go into not okay.
That's not okay.
This one might be a little bit. This might be the most questionable one I'm going to bring up on the show for right now.
Here we go. Coming in hot. You buried the lead. We're almost at the end here.
But, okay. What I'm about to say is not anything related to me. Like, I'm not fat phobic or anything like that. I am fat, so like I can't even go that direction, honestly.
Great start.
But I think airlines need to implement something where, if you exceed a certain weight, you need to have some way to allow people to have two seats. I bring this up because one of my last flights, there was a family of 8 people who were on the larger side, right? Like their arms, not just their arms, some of their, body was, protruding over the armrest on both sides. And now, obviously, if you split them up and they're all in their one row each, then it's fine, because then like the other 2 people might be smaller and they can, make it work and slide over a little. But if you're telling me they're both sitting, one's window, one's aisle, and then I gotta squeeze in between that, bro, that's crazy. And even the flight attendants knew there was something wrong because they legitimately couldn't fit everyone into their seats. So the flight ended up being like overbooked in a sense because these people were taking up more space than
Hmm.
the passengers could sit in. And so one of the flight attendants actually I didn't know they could do this. They let another passenger sit in their seat because
Oh,
there was no other room for that passenger to sit. So and
you're
she
talking about
said she had to make.
like one that comes down, like it pulls down from the side of the
Yes,
wall. One of those
yes.
ones. Well,
I didn't
first
know
of all,
that was legal.
that's also
I,
very uncomfortable. I cannot imagine that person enjoyed the flight.
well, I would still pick that over sitting in between two 500-600. And
Oh, so that was the person that moved. Oh, and that's even worse. Oh, yeah, that sucks.
yeah, and so
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't know how they would do it because obviously I don't want to say just because because people might have medical conditions or something that you don't choose to be fat sometimes. And
You're not fat for
uh,
I get it.
yeah, and I'm not saying the airline should charge them for 2 seats, but there needs to be some way to like calculate like, oh, because don't they also do that with luggage? Like, and that's the reason they ask for like the size and the weight of luggage is so they can distribute it on the plane and like make sure everything fits properly. I think that should be the same for the passengers. That's all I'm saying. Just
So my first thought is I go back to Cedar Point as a kid, and this is more dangerous because obviously they need to make sure that when you sit in your seat on a roller coaster that you're safe. And so they would have a row of seats out in front before you got in line in Cedar Point on the most dangerous rides, and you could sit down and like you put the thing down and make sure that like you would fit in the seat
hmm
before you got in the roller
okay, that
coaster.
makes sense.
So that's when you say that, that's the first thing I think of and actually they might have seats out there that like represent the same size of the plane. I'm not sure if they do, but that's
But
the thing I'm
there still needs to
thinking
be
of.
like a regulation to it, right? Where like they're like, okay, so you clearly need 2 seats, so we're gonna
Yeah,
like move this person here and make everyone comfortable. I don't know.
and it's extremely embarrassing, obviously, like you're alluding to. But the sad truth is, like, there's just sometimes it is what it is in life a little bit, and you're a larger person, then you might. I don't know if you have to buy 2 seats because obviously that makes it the cost like exorbitant. Because then like you're gonna make them sit first class almost, or make them sit business class, whatever it is, because those seats are slightly larger. I'm not sure what the
hmm
solution is, but it is, yeah, it stinks. It stinks. It
Yeah,
stinks. It
and like I
stinks.
said, it's less on the people. I think this is an airline regulation thing, and I'm not trying to make it so they charge more, but it's like just for seating price. Because honestly, I don't know if that was legal that that random other person had to sit in a steward like a flight attendant seat. I don't know if that's actually legal, but that's what I
Yeah.
witnessed. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just glad it wasn't me, but
Yeah.
I mean, I just sat next to them. I was just like, okay, I'm good. But I'm not gonna say it was the most comfortable ride I've been on, but I also travel with kids now, so that
Oh,
gets just as uncomfortable. So
this was a flight with
oh, no, no,
Joe.
no, no, no. I'm just saying it was
Yeah.
actually right before Joe, but I'm just saying. Well, no, Joe was here. He just wasn't on the plane, but
we're,
nonetheless,
we're at the
nonetheless.
point now where we can get 3 seats for the 2 kids and the two of us, and that kind of covers us with the 2 and the 4-year-old right now on a
Oh,
plane.
that's nice. That's nice.
So you could just that's advice for you. You can put one more in the equation, get 3 seats, but they're still young there. That kind of works.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I mean, Joe had just turned 2, so we haven't been on a flight yet since where we have to pay for his actual ticket,
Yeah.
which I'm
Hmm.
a little nervous for because I really don't want to. I wish it
But
was
you
more like
still.
Disney. Like, do they look to, or are we good?
Oh, Disney's great. They don't. Well, because they set the bar so low that they cover themselves. Because it's like what, 4 and under free at Disney, I think.
well, they
Or is it
say
2 and under?
2. I
Oh,
think they
that's
say
exactly
2
it.
and under.
No, you're right about
But
that.
I mean, I've heard you could get away
4.
with 4 or
Yeah.
5 if they look small enough.
No.
So
100% 4, and they know that, and that's why they do that. They go, if we set the bar at 2, then obviously, if the kid is out there, I don't even know what a 5-year-old would be obvious if they were like reading a
parkouring
book.
over the fence and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's everything like writing their name somewhere or something that's like that. It's like, okay, that kid's not too.
uh, but yes, 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 yes.
Ooh, we had a good one this week. So the one topic that we are gonna get to is banana ball, and I cannot wait to get to it. And it's on the docket every week, and every week I kick it to next week, and the next week I kick it to the next week, and the next week I kick it to the next week. Um, Oh, we'll have Super Bowl recap next week. I'm just trying to think out loud here. We're getting darn close to the start of our Banana Ball coverage, and I am excited for the Banana Ball coverage. I'm just telling you that right now.
Like I said, I've done zero research on it. I have no,
Woo.
I have no idea what I'm walking into. But hey,
Well,
I'm
I
ready
can
for
tell you what you're walking. I tell you what you're walking into. You're walking into us being the #1 Banana Ball podcast in the country. That's what you're walking into, and that I want to set the bar
Let's get
high,
it.
and
Let's
we're gonna
get it.
get to it. We're gonna get all the teams on. We're gonna be in it. We're gonna be in on everything Banana Ball.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready. But you did mention vent session, so
Oh, you got some still. All right.
no. I mean, if we're just gonna let it all, if we're gonna let it air out, just as
Yeah.
dads.
What do you got? What do you got?
So I guess for me, like we're kind of walking this line where it's like, I mean, my wife clearly has one set of views. I clearly have one set of views, and
Sure.
I'm sure every relationship goes through that. Um, but in particular, right now, and I thought of this as we were talking about, Catherine and Home Alone and all that. Uh, so when it comes to like TV time and like setting boundaries and stuff, or maybe even it's like social media, like being on the phone or whatever. What's your take on that? Because like for me, I'm like very honestly, I don't think social media is the problem. I think it's more the parenting behind it. I obviously like if you pushed an extreme or you let them, get away with too much, then yes, that can be a problem. But I just recently saw one mom was taking her kid to school, and she was like, "If you don't turn it off, I'm gonna just throw your iPad out the window." And she was driving, and she didn't turn it off. She grabbed her iPad, chucked it out the window, and she had to make a point, right? She had to prove a point. Um, and so I guess my question to you though is just like boundary wise, like where do you stand on that? Like, do you feel like there always needs to be a set of restrictions, or are you guys pretty lax with it and comfortable with them like watching stuff, or like do you think there's gonna be like a big consequence to letting them watch stuff?
All right. So let's focus on that mom that you just saw there, because I think
I knew we were gonna go there first. I knew we were gonna go there first.
it's a great representation, because so I just take an educated guess. That mom is probably a little loose or was probably a little loose at the beginning with TV time, which I will say we probably are slash were too, especially with the 4-year-old. So my 4-year-old can turn the iPad on. It's a 4-number passcode. No problem. She's got through the 4-number passcode. She knows that pretty much like looking at the logos, can click Netflix, can click Disney. The problem is she also can click YouTube.
Mm.
And that's in really, if you were gonna just set the lowest boundary of like, I don't really care too much, you can watch whatever you want. If I'm just telling parents right now, just eliminate YouTube. YouTube would be the one. Just don't let them get into that at first, just because all the other shows, if you just think about it, like all the youth shows, I know the European ones can sometimes get a little potty humory, but they're regulated a little bit. Like, those videos on YouTube aren't regulated, even if they look like they're a kid's video. Like, people are messed up, and they like just stick the weirdest stuff in the middle of these, like what you thought was a kid's video. Either way, back to that mom. That's kind of what we're going through now. Is we probably were too loose at the beginning with Sophie. Like I said, she's really good at all that stuff, and Saturday morning when you're laying in bed and she comes in at 7 o'clock, a good way to get 30 more minutes of sleep is to just hand her your phone with whatever she wants to watch on it. Then she just crawls in bed and she's just watching whatever she wants to watch on your phone. But then at that point, then that happens every weekend. And now now she's getting up at 6:45. Now she's getting up earlier because she knows she wants to watch the TV. And so back to that mom that just threw the iPad out the window, eventually you have to set a boundary, and it's probably a little later than you should have, and so you end up throwing an iPad out the car window. And I'm not saying I've been there, but whatever one level less of throwing an iPad out the car window is where we've been. And actually, I want to twist this a little bit. So you got our kids a Tony. when
The
Sophie
Tony
was
box.
young, the Tony box. And anybody that doesn't know what a Tony box is, it's you buy this music box and you buy these little characters that go on top of the music box. This little magnet thing, it goes on and it plays the songs. You buy all the Disney characters, so you can buy. Our girls get all the princesses, so we have
Mhm.
Ariel, we have Cinderella, we have Sleeping Beauty, we have Mulan. Wow, Mulan, Moana. Either way, um, so that's the number one thing when she's doing things at night. Like she doesn't want to go to bed. She keeps getting out of bed. It's like, well, we're gonna take the Tony box away, and then
Mm.
all bleep
Also, I'm the
breaks
problem
loose.
now.
Yeah, that's why I want to make sure you understand that. Yeah, you started this. Like this one wasn't our fault. You started this one. And so you take that darn Tony box away, and then stuff gets real now. Now that's so yeah. That I feel that mom. We probably are that mom to a certain extent.
Mm.
I would regulate it a little bit, probably more than we do. Probably not to the extent of like my kid can't watch anything, but
Mhm.
so obviously the answer is always somewhere in the middle. Where are you guys at? I know he hadn't gotten into too much the last we talked as far as watching.
Yeah. So, hmm.
Hmm.
He is kind of getting there already. To the point where he's asking to watch Polar Express. That's like his go-to show right now.
Oh, really?
We've watched. Okay, no joke. I believe we
Mhm.
watched Polar Express close to 150 times
Yeah, no.
since November. Since November,
Mhm.
like, it's
Any
just
non-parent that doesn't know, when a young kid gets on a movie, it's again, again, again,
yep,
again, again. Yeah,
back to
that's
back
very normal.
reruns.
Very normal.
Yeah, so we ended up buying it because Netflix took it down, then HBO took it, or no, Disney took it down, then HBO took it down, and then we are like, all right, so we got to buy it on Prime, and so now it's
Hmm.
just on repeat all the time. But he's actually starting to expand a little bit more, but he is getting a little bit attached to it. So like, uh, Laura and I will take like, so we'll be like, oh, so this week he just doesn't get any. Like we're just
Hmm.
gonna cut him off
Sure.
cold turkey, and then if he's good and he doesn't ask for it, then like we'll let him watch something over the weekend or something like that. But I think we're doing okay so far. But yeah,
I would
just
stick
trying to
stick that track. You're on a good path there. Stick with that one.
mm,
You got a good thing going with that.
yeah,
I
just trying
think
to make sure we don't get to the point where we have to throw anything out the window.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Is you're on the right track. You won't throw any iPads out the window doing what you're doing right there.
But just to kind of finish that story, apparently the lady did drop off her kids at school, and she went back because she knew, like, throwing an iPad out the window is insane. And she went up and picked up the iPad, and it still happened to be there.
She knew where she was throwing it. She's like, I know that yard. I'm gonna toss over there. But I guess also like, how deep do you want to get? Like, she was driving. Like, how did she get to this iPad?
Oh yeah, she was driving her kid to school, and then
Reached
yeah,
back in the
reached
back
back,
seat, grabbed the
gave it
iPad
just
from the
a
kid's,
quick fling out her window.
and just gave it a go, eh? Wow. Yeah, I
Hey,
mean,
props to her though, because I do think when you set boundaries though, you do have to make sure you enforce it. Because the second you don't, they'll just walk over you.
100%. That's what I'm trying to say. Is we're like halfway in between that. We're good, not great at that.
And
And
like I said
Sophie,
before,
I was gonna say, Sophie will take a mile. You give her an inch, she'll take a mile. That's like most
yep,
kids.
yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like I said before, like I don't think people give kids enough credit. They're way smarter than they look and way smarter than they
Absolutely.
act. They pick up stuff so fast, and then they just try to turn it on you as fast as you can, as fast as they can.
Oh,
Uh,
so Joa at 2, he's probably not playing you and Laura against each other yet. That 2, I don't think that's probably 3. You're one more year away.
is that what I'm need to start
Yeah,
prepping for?
I would say 3. Well, it's gonna the first time you say no to the juice box, and he goes to mom and he says, "Mom, can I have a juice box?" And like they
Mm,
know that you said no, but it's like, let's try mom. See if this works.
yeah, I don't think we've had that yet. So fingers crossed. Knock on
Yep,
wood. We got a
about
little
3.
bit more time before that.
One more year, I think. Somewhere in the next year.
But yep. Whew. Well, that's all I had for this vent session. Anything on your side?
No, I think we did it this week. We went through everything on my list. This was a great show. I'm excited to do a little post Super Bowl next week. Like I said, I'm excited for Banana Ball next week. Got a few things coming up. We're gonna get the girls back out, start talking a little NFL draft. Yeah, we got lots of good stuff coming up.
All right. Well, sounds good. Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone, to the Disgruntled Losers podcast. Once again, I'm Hoy. That's Mike. Follow us on all our social media, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Have a good week.
Bye.
Sweet. Gravitate, gravitate to the rhythm.